Welcome to EtherLink AI Insights, the podcast where we dive deep into enterprise AI strategy and implementation. I'm Alex, and I'm joined today by Sam. We're tackling a topic that's reshaping how enterprises build AI systems: Agentic AI development, multi-agent orchestration, and EU compliance. Sam, this feels like a pretty pivotal moment for enterprises right now.
Absolutely. What's fascinating is that we're moving away from the single chatbot era. Enterprises are realizing that one agent doing one task isn't cutting it anymore. They need systems that can think, plan, and coordinate across multiple workflows simultaneously. And they need to do it while staying compliant with the EU AI Act.
Right. So it's not just about having a smarter chatbot. We're talking about genuinely autonomous systems that can make decisions and take action. Can you break down what that actually looks like in practice?
Sure. Imagine a customer service agent in a bank that doesn't just answer questions. It actively escalates risky cases, pulls contract data using RAG, retrieval augmented generation, and coordinates with a billing agent to resolve disputes without any human jumping in. That's Agentic AI. The agent perceives what's happening, decides what to do, and acts autonomously toward a business goal.
That's a significant shift. And I imagine the business case is compelling if enterprises are jumping on this. What does the market data actually show?
The numbers are striking. Gartner predicts that by 2026, agentic AI systems will drive 60% of enterprise AI ROI. McKinsey data shows 71% of enterprise leaders plan to deploy multi-agent systems by end of 2026. Compare that to just 31% in 2023. So we're seeing explosive adoption momentum.
That's a massive jump in 2 years. But I'm guessing regulated industries like finance and healthcare are moving more cautiously?
Exactly. In regulated sectors, deployment is slower because compliance is non-negotiable. But here's the opportunity. Enterprises that achieve EU AI Act compliance first will have a serious competitive advantage. They'll be the ones trusted by regulators and customers.
Interesting. Let's dig into the technical architecture then. What are the core building blocks of these agentic systems?
There are three main pillars: AI workflows, multi-agent orchestration, and RAG systems. Let me start with workflows. An AI workflow is essentially the sequence of decisions, API calls, and data retrievals an agent executes. But here's the key difference. Unlike static pipelines, these workflows adapt based on what's actually happening at runtime.
So it's not hard-coded? The agent adjusts its approach based on conditions?
Exactly. Think of a procurement agent receiving a purchase request. It evaluates supplier compliance by querying policy documents through RAG, checks current inventory, calculates cost-benefit, and then either approves or escalates. Over time, it learns which decisions trigger escalations and improves. To build this, teams need a workflow definition language. Tools like AWS step functions, temporal, or open-source frameworks like LangGraph. They also need solid state management to track context across interactions, plus robust error handling for when APIs fail or confidence drops.
So workflow is foundational. What about when you have multiple agents needing to work together?
Now you're talking about orchestration, which is where it gets complex. Imagine an order fulfillment system with inventory, logistics, payment, and customer service agents all running simultaneously. They need to coordinate without duplicating work, causing deadlocks, or conflicting. There are basically three orchestration patterns.
Walk us through them.
First is hierarchical. A manager agent delegates to specialist agents. That's intuitive and works well for clear workflows. Second is decentralized. Agents communicate via message queues, pub subsystems. Scalable, but harder to debug and monitor. Third is market-based. Agents bid for tasks or resources, creating emergent coordination. That's used in complex logistics. According to Forrester, teams using hierarchical orchestration with explicit AI lead architecture governance see 40% faster deployment and 35% fewer production failures than ad hoc setups.
So governance matters significantly. That bridges to compliance, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Governance is where EU compliance lives. The EU AI Act requires transparency, auditability, and human oversight for high-risk AI systems. You need to know why your agent made a decision, be able to trace its reasoning, and have checkpoints where humans can intervene.
That sounds like it could slow things down. How do enterprises balance speed and compliance?
Smart architecture actually accelerates compliance. If you build governance and audit trails into your system from day one, it's not a bolt-on later. You're documenting decisions, tracking data provenance, and maintaining logs naturally. Tools like LangGraph or Temporal let you visualize agent behavior, which is crucial for auditing. And when you use RAG systems, you can cite exactly which documents informed a decision.
That's a practical approach. Let's talk about RAG evaluation since that came up. That seems like a critical piece for production systems.
RAG, retrieval augmented generation, is where agents ground their decisions in actual data rather than hallucinating. But RAG quality is variable. You might retrieve the right documents, but your agent misinterprets them, or it retrieves irrelevant chunks. In production, you need rigorous evaluation, metrics for retrieval precision and recall, semantic similarity scores, and whether agent decisions actually improve with better RAG quality.
So you're measuring end-to-end system quality, not just document retrieval?
Right. You need to measure whether RAG actually enables better business outcomes. Does the agent resolve more cases correctly? Does it escalate appropriately? Those are the metrics that matter, and you need continuous evaluation. RAG systems degrade as underlying knowledge changes, documents get outdated, new policies emerge. You need pipelines that detect drift and retrain.
This is getting sophisticated. Let me ask, for a company starting on this journey, what's the right first step?
Start with a single workflow and a single agent solving a real business problem. Don't try to build a multi-agent system immediately. Pick something high-impact but contained, maybe a customer service escalation workflow or an internal process like expense approvals. Define your workflow clearly, instrument it with logging and metrics, and prove value before orchestrating multiple agents.
Good practical advice. And from a compliance angle, should that be a second step or integrated from the start?
Integrated from the start. Determine if your system is high risk under the EU AI Act. If it affects hiring, financial services, or critical infrastructure, you need governance immediately. If it's lower risk, you can be leaner. But either way, build auditability in. Log decisions, maintain data lineage, and have a human-in-the-loop checkpoint. It's easier to do this as you build than retrofit it later.
And once you have that first agent working and compliant, then you expand?
Exactly. You add a second agent, test their interaction, refine orchestration, then a third. You're learning your governance model and your orchestration patterns as you scale, and you're building institutional knowledge about what works in your organization's context.
That sounds like a measured, defensible approach. Before we wrap up, what's one thing you think enterprises often overlook?
The importance of AI lead architecture, someone or a team responsible for the end-to-end design, governance, and strategy. Enterprises often let engineers build agents in isolation without alignment on orchestration patterns, compliance requirements, or long-term scalability. That creates fragmentation and technical debt. You need clear leadership on architectural decisions.
That's a great point. Governance and architecture ownership matter as much as the technology. Sam, thanks for walking through this. For listeners wanting to dive deeper, the full article on Agentic AI Development, multi-agent orchestration, and EU compliance is available on etherlink.ai. You'll find more technical details, case studies, and implementation frameworks. Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you next time on EtherLink AI Insights.